Hi, good evening. My name is Sean Valley, and I'm a 37-year-old man from Trinidad and Tobago. I was recently accepted into a master's program at Columbia University for the 2018-19 academic year in the fairly new discipline called Global Thought. But unfortunately, I ended up having to withdraw due to an inability to secure funding in time. After completing my bachelor's degree, a BSc in economics from the University of the West Indies here in my home country in 2006, and about 1 year of work in the field of investment banking, I realized that my true passion, at least professionally, lay in the area of international affairs/global development. Therefore, based on the advice of one of my undergraduate lecturers, I successfully applied to the University of the West Indies Institute of International Relations to begin a postgraduate diploma with the intention of going on to do a master's at same institution. It was during this period that over the course of my studies, as well as for my own personal curiosity, I became familiar with the works/publications of global thought leaders like Fareed Zakaria, Jeffrey Sachs, and Thomas Friedman. I then realized in no uncertain terms where my professional interests lay and what route map I ought to take to achieve these goals. After reading Professor Sachs's Commonwealth and the End of Poverty, an idea began formulating within my mind about a viable but rather complex method of how the international development community could possibly address the challenging but doable task of permanently eradicating extreme global poverty. The genesis of this idea was eventually developed into a research thesis for my master's dissertation, asking the question, is it possible to eradicate extreme poverty before the middle of the century? This was a 15,000-word assignment where I explored a potential shifting away of the focal point from the traditional dependency on official development assistance towards a greater role being adopted by the private sector in developing/emerging nations, particularly those of South Asia, example Ambani Industries, and Sub-Saharan Africa, example the Dangote Group of companies. The general premise of this dissertation was that the private sector in emerging regions, under the right inducements, in collaboration with global development organizations like the United Nations Development Programme and the African Union, assume the lead role of poverty eradication/human development initiatives in their respective home markets. I also outlined a few arguments about why this approach may be more effective in yielding the desired results. I was one of 5 students out of a class of 40 in my master's program to receive an A in this part of the course. My supervisor was impressed by the originality and creativity of the thought process. His words, not mine. My ideas have since evolved into a more comprehensive route map of how we, the international community, can become a planetary or a Type 1 civilization by the middle of the century, with a detailed plan to address such critical issues as climate change, malnutrition, illiteracy, unemployment, and extremist ideologies, all issues that my generation, millennials, will have to confront over the next few decades as we advance deeper into our adult lives. Eventually, I would like to become a global thought leader along the lines of Professor Jeffrey Sachs, Michio Kaku, or Ray Kurzweil. My rationale for applying to the Obama Foundation Scholars Program is that I do believe I will make a significant contribution to global development policy formation and implementation, especially from the launchpad that such an institution would provide. I am committed to seeing this endeavor through to full completion. Thank you very much for this audience. I sincerely appreciated it. Best regards, Sean Valley.